Okay, so what you're looking at right here is an English 107 ready writing sample. Now the students wrote this before they actually started the quarter, so this is the kind of writing you'd see in like the first couple of weeks of class, and so this will let you know if you feel like you're ready to dive right into English 107. So I'm going to go ahead and read the sample out loud and you can follow along to hear for some of the things that the student needs to think about. Have you ever been in a school that prohibits you from wearing anything you feel like? Yes. I got admitted to a Christian boarding school that had their rules and regulation. Rule number 1. It was mandatory for all students to dress in their proper school uniforms. This is one rule that I strongly supported, although majority of the students were against. It promoted equality. School uniforms were affordable, and there was uniformity and cleanliness in school. Although the majority was against wearing uniforms, it brought equality in the school compounds. We were all from different backgrounds. Some students from a wealthy family, while others were from a humble family. The wealthy could afford classy and expensive clothes, while the humble students from a poor family couldn't afford, thus the need of school uniforms. Okay, so now we'll talk about a couple of things that the student still needs to work on, but 107 is going to do a really good job of making sure they address these sort of concerns. Okay, so the first thing is you'll see throughout the student is still making some grammar and syntax errors, right? So this isn't a perfect writing sample. They're going to have time in 107 to work on their grammar, even though they're confidently using standard English already. So one of the things the student struggles with throughout is making sure all their plural forms are here. So you can see in this sentence it says, I got admitted to a Christian boarding school that had their rules and regulation. So it should be rules and regulations, right? Both of these are plural. More than one rule, more than one regulation. Another thing that you'll see the student didn't account for is they were missing a verb here, right, in this bottom sentence. Some students were from a wealthy family, while others were from a humble family, right? So not big errors in terms of grammar. We still know what the student means throughout, just some little things that they'll get a chance to practice on in 107. Okay, something that the student's really doing well is that they have a strong understanding of structure and organization. So you can see right from the start in their first sentence, they give their audience a little bit of a hint about what they're going to be actually answering in their piece of writing here. They ask, have you ever been in a school that prohibits you from wearing anything you feel like? And what they're going to do after that is they're going to answer yes, right? So they have an idea of what they need to lay out for their audience to understand the sort of purpose for their writing. I've also highlighted rule number 1 here because that shows that the student knows that they need to organize their writing in a particular way for their reader to understand what they're trying to get at in each paragraph. And then the second paragraph, we can see that the student uses the word although, right, as a sort of signal phrase into a new idea. And so you have a sound structure and organization. They're going to get some time to make sure that they're working on that skill as they go into 107, but they've already got a sort of strong idea of what organizes a paragraph and what organizes things beyond the sentence level. Okay, so the last thing I want to point out is the student takes some risks here with using a varied word choice and like lots of detailed examples. So they use phrases like strongly supported, right? Really active words, strong words to paint a picture for their reader. Uniformity, cleanliness, wealthy, expensive, humble. These are all detailed examples and examples that show that the student feels confident to make word choices that are varied and that go into a lot of detail to paint a picture for their reader. Okay. So why English 107 makes sense for this type of a student? You've got to think about these questions if you're going to place yourself into 107. Does your writing look like this, right? Do you feel comfortable using varied word choices? And do you feel like you can go into a fair amount of detail with your examples? Do you have a strong understanding of organization and structure beyond just the sentence, right? Do you feel comfortable writing in full paragraphs? Maybe you're still working on some things with grammar. Pretty much everybody is at this point, right? But like, do you have a fairly strong understanding of how grammar is used in writing? So one of the things you'll work on in 107 is advanced work with grammar and punctuation that'll help prepare you for college level writing. So like I said before, it doesn't need to be perfect. That's one of the things you'll work on in 107, but you should be ready for more advanced work. You're going to strengthen your organizational strategies. You're going to practice adding more detail and description into your writing. And this is a really important one. The projects in 107 are often longer than 3 pages of writing. So this is going to be longer projects, right? Not just a paragraph here and there, but extended pieces of writing. And then finally, 107 also offers specific writing projects related to the professional and technical fields that you'll be a part of. So please consider all of these things if you're going to move forward with placing yourself into 107.